Las Vegas visionary Tony Hsieh abruptly and quietly left Zappos around August 2020. He set his sights on Park City, Utah, quiet ski town about 30 minutes outside of Salt Lake City. Some say Hsieh was there trying to duplicate what he envisioned for Las Vegas.
All new at 6 as we continue our investigation. Las Vegas visionary Tony Hsieh, the rise, the fall, the future. 13 Investigates reporter Joe Bartels shows you this period of Hsieh's life was marked by home buying, wild parties, law enforcement interventions, and growing concern about Hsieh's mental health.
The pandemic upended business as usual for a lot of us, and for Tony Hsieh, it was no different. He left his company and his job, but records show he went to the Utah mountains and snatched up millions in real estate. In the snowy peaks, where ski lifts and steeples seem to touch the sky, the allure of Park City is clear. It draws 600,000 visitors in a normal year, and in 2020, it was home briefly to billionaire Tony Hsieh. He invited others along for this new adventure.
We were just touching base, and she said, hey, I'm in Vegas now. Tony is stepping down, I think, from Zappos, and he's going to be creating a whole new thing up in Park City. Why don't you guys just come up and get out of the heat?
Musician David Perico says the invitation came from former bandmate Rachel Brown, who happened to be Tony Hsieh's girlfriend and right-hand person at online shoe retailer Zappos. He says in August last year, these tour buses were sent to pick him, his wife, and fellow bandmates up in Las Vegas for the trip to Utah.
Just a little mini vacation, 3-day vacation. Rachel made sure we had accommodations. We had our own condo. We did some hiking, and then we would meet every night with Rachel and some of the other Zappos employees that were up there for dinner.
David says Tony Hsieh's Utah home and acres of land were filled with breathtaking beauty. Property records show it was purchased for almost $15 million in July 2020, just before Tony's quiet departure from Zappos.
Gosh, it had to be, I would say at least 20,000 square feet, big kind of A-frame style. Off the back of it was a huge deck, and then you overlooked the lake, and then big area where the quote-unquote living room was. That's where the grand piano was set up, and we just hung out and we played some music and jammed together.
The trip included hot air balloons, hiking, and sightseeing, but he rarely saw his host, and David noticed something else at the mountain mansion, a policy in which cell phones were taken away from guests inside the home. Also,
and of course the place was heavily fortified with security. Everywhere you went, there was security. That was one thing I did notice. Wherever we went, and we had to be tested for COVID before we could even go there.
Records show Tony went on a shopping spree, buying several properties around Park City, spending millions on homes, condos, and his large mansion, generating headlines and online buzz, prompting questions about what the former Zappos CEO was up to. Some say it was the beginning of something big.
Putting a lot of people to work, creating a lot of jobs, creating a lot of things. And Park City itself is just a beautiful area.
He was also making a name for himself with law enforcement. We obtained multiple reports from the Summit County Sheriff's Office. In June, a friend reported Hsieh broke several things inside a home and threatened to hurt himself.
Gentleman landline that has a friend, 1422 Empire Avenue, that's having some sort of a breakdown. When I told him I was sending police and then would stage an ambulance, he said never mind and would call back. However, I did advise him we were going to send somebody regardless. He is worried about his friends seeing us, officers in uniform. He was refusing to give me much information now.
Police arrived and Tony was taken to the hospital, but the friend warned if Tony were released, it would, quote, be a problem. In early August 2020, authorities were called to Hsieh's mountain mansion again for a welfare check. 10 days later, another call into authorities. This time, a friend reported Tony was increasingly paranoid, and they were concerned for his safety, indicating he was using inhalants. But his security detail told authorities everything was okay. The following month in September, reports show a party got the attention of neighbors and authorities. The report detailing a party going on for 40 straight days with loud music and flames shooting up in the air from a contraption. Authorities were called twice more to the mansion in the days immediately after.
Well, I'm going to call my producer.
Yeah, so if you're recording me right now, stop. I don't want to be recorded.
More than a month after Tony's death, his security detail still guarded the Mountain Mansion and followed investigators from our sister station around Park City.
But you're in my personal space, sir.
That's okay.
And if you continue to do it,
That's
I'll
all right.
have to call.
It's a public place.
The guard eventually referred 13 Investigates to a public relations firm. Repeated requests for interviews were declined. Still, Hsieh's time spent in Park City was positive for some. The mayor of Park City declined to speak on camera, instead releasing a statement saying in part, quote, "He may have been new to our community, but he had a large and immediate impact. Through the depths of the pandemic closures and difficult reopening period, he generously and quietly bolstered many of Park City's small businesses. It was a lifeline to at least a few of them. Thank you to Tony for the kindness he showed our community, and we are sorry we were unable to know him better."
I just was amazed that, the generosity of Tony, and via Rachel, said, hey, I'm going to send you these buses. And what really stuck out was, to me, knowing what he did here in Las Vegas, it was going to be like maybe a second kind of positive outcome in Park City.
After Utah, Hsieh traveled to Puerto Rico, then another quick stopover in New London, Connecticut. What happens next is still shrouded in mystery. Joe Bartels, 13 Investigates.